It's here that we begin to see the BlackRock takeover of the entire financial network of the United States. And of course, it starts with none other than 2007 through 2008's financial crisis. This is something that I've mentioned a couple times about being a planned event. This was a trigger event for the Great Reset, basically. This was a very important time. A lot of people think it was an accident. A lot of people think that they just didn't see what was coming. A lot of people think it was just a reset that happens in financial situations every so many years. It has to do that type of thing. Well, it was actually 100% planned for various reasons. We've talked about one where it was this was the beginning of basically the de-dollarization. We talked about it in the tearing down the curtain episode, and it was a planned, controlled de-dollarization with this is where China was going to start making their move forward. That was one of the aspects of it. Getting BlackRock to do what they did is another. So the '08 financial crisis was, again, a planned event for the Great Reset. It was the trigger for many things, like we just talked about, China, de-dollarization, all this stuff. But it was also the trigger to allow BlackRock to team up with the Federal Reserve. So let's get going with this. During 2007-2008 financial crisis, it launched BlackRock skyward as Wall Street banged on their door for help. So while all the banks and institutions were looking for a bailout, they were looking for help, they went to BlackRock. This included AIG, Lehman Brothers, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and others. They all hired BlackRock to rework their complex credit books. They did this to work the credit books. Now, this is where the connection of the Federal Reserve, the U.S. government, and BlackRock begins. U.S. Treasury Secretary Timothy Gaither and the Fed, the Federal Reserve, also worked with BlackRock. And we can take a look right here. Gaither has phone friend at BlackRock. This was an article from 2012 talking about the crisis. If you look at it, the close relationship between Mr. Fink and Mr. Gaither, which dates back to Mr. Gaither's days heading the Federal Reserve Bank at New York between 2003 2009, reflects how governments have turned the asset manager as a trusted advisor. And then it goes on to talk about, BlackRock helped the Fed manage the securities it acquired through its bailout of AIG and advised on the rescuing of Citigroup, which Citigroup is Rockefeller Bank, if you guys didn't realize that. That goes way back to the Standard Oil Company days. It has counseled European governments, not just the United States, struggling with faltering lenders, and has provided services to U.S. government agencies ranging from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, National Credit Union Administration, even Bear Stearns was involved with that. So you're seeing the connection of BlackRock working with the federal government to bail out all these other banks and financial institutions. In 2009, BlackRock then acquires Barclays Global Investors. If you guys don't know Barclays, they're one of the elite investment groups. They're heavily involved with the elite groups. I'm sure the shadow government has something to do with that as well, but they're heavily involved with that. Barclays was also a part of the Epstein stuff. We're not going to get into that though, which then puts BlackRock as the world's largest asset manager, stretching into 24 different countries. It's not just the United States, guys. We've seen it European groups, 24 different countries, and in 2009. So basically they started in 1988 and they turned $5 million into the world's largest asset manager by 2009. That's how quick. And they got connected to the government. They got connected to all the financial institutions. They got connected to Wall Street, and they got connected to all the other groups out there. Everything is going swimmingly. And all of this mainly triggered because of the 2008 crisis. Almost like it was planned, wasn't it?